Welcome back to the channel. In my last video, I showed you how to install these TimberTech Reliance level rails. Now we're ready to install the stair rails. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe. So the first thing I did was I took the metal out because it just kept sliding in and out. So I just have the vinyl here, and as you can see on the bottom and the top, it's clamped, ready to go. So what I did was I took my speed square and I brought it down and I measured from the hole that's next to the post, and same thing up here. So now I know we're equal distance, and the same as we did with the level rail, I'm just gonna trace just like that and just like that and bring it over to the miter saw. All right, so code stipulates that you cannot fit a 6-inch sphere through here, obviously for children. So what we're gonna do is we're opting to actually just rest the bottom rail on top of the treads, because then that gives us our 6 inches. Now, we could use the crusher block, but since it's obviously on the treads, we really don't need to. So with the bottom and the top rail cut, obviously this post is too tall. So what I just did was I marked right here, we're gonna disassemble this and cut this post to height, and then we're ready to assemble. Something I forgot to mention is whenever you build stairs, your lower post is always taller than your upper post. So when you're ordering your material, make sure you get the taller sleeve for the bottom of the stairs. Or if you have like a post in the middle of the stairs, make sure you get it for that as well. So that's why this post was so much taller. As you can see, we cut it off to 42 inches. Now we're ready to install. So the first thing we're gonna do is pre-drill. So this is our first time installing this rail. One thing that I noticed is typically it's very difficult to get those screws in, but a TimberTech has thought ahead and they're actually designed to go in on an angle. So as you just saw, we just used extensions on our drills or our impacts and they went right in. So good job, TimberTech. All right, so this is the way that I mark to cut the top rail. Basically what I want to do is line up the holes and then continue the angle. Shift this over so you can see this hole there, and then I'm going to flip it like this, and you can see I already pre-marked right here, so that continues. Maybe you can't see that. So you can see I pre-marked it right here. Take your trusty speed square again. You can see the holes lined up like that. And again, I'm doing this for demonstration purposes, but you just flip this like that and then continue this line as if it continues through. So I'm gonna cut all the way up here, and you can see if I continued where the top of this is, you can see the spacing there. So you want this angle to continue all the way through that top rail, and down here, you can see I'm cutting all the way back here. So this is where the bottom rail ends, and that's essentially where my top rail cut starts and goes over that way. But again, the most important part is to make sure that these holes are lined up. If they're off by like a 1/16, that's not the end of the world, because you can shift it and screw it in. Now I'm using a 7 1/4 miter saw. This will not cut all the way through unless I do a compound miter, but again, this video is for mostly homeowners or DIYers. Most of you probably don't have that. So I'm going to show you how I get around it. So the way I'm cutting is I'm using, this is the top of it, I'm putting that up against the fence, holding down, because if it's angled slightly, then your cut's not going to be accurate. All right, so you can see that I cut through all the way, just like that. So the reason I'm able to do that is because I have this saw facing this way, and I'll show you what I mean. All right, so this is my scrap piece. I just want to do a quick demonstration. So whenever you're cutting, you want this flush and the back flush. So as you can see, I have my miter saw facing this way. And I cut through all the way. Now this is a Milwaukee. All saws are different, but for the most part you probably will run into this issue. So now I have the blade facing the same degree, but to the right. So if you look right here, the motor part is touching this. So no matter how much I press, I'm not going to be able to get through. Without cutting off my finger, I think you get the point. So it won't go all the way through. Now, if you run into this problem, all you do is flip it over and cut the other way. But like I said, the easiest way is to, depending upon your saw, if you just turn it all the way this way, this is on the lower portion, and it can cut all the way through. All right, I just want to go over this one more time because obviously these rails are expensive and this is the hardest part about installing them. So as you can see, all the holes are lined up. The edge of my cut is lined up there and my edge of my cut is lined up there. But when I flip it and I do that one that way and that one that way, you can now see the holes are still lined up, but this is a continuation here and this is a continuation here. A lot of people make the mistake of cutting it backwards and doing that, and then unfortunately you got to throw the railing out. So take your time, line up the holes, flip it, and just make sure that your angle continues and you'll be good to go. Unfortunately, Diego had to head out, so now I'm on my own for this one. All right, that was the easy part. Hard part's gonna be doing the top rail, but I think we can do it. All right, well, I just learned something. So the caps or covers are not universal. So that one's specifically for the bottom And this one's specifically for the top. I'll get that from the outside, so I'm assuming these are the same. Yep. So you can see how this is angled. So that's going to be for down there. The other one was angled the other way for that one.